Good evening, everyone. Ed Oswald here with Echo Top Storm Chasers and your 8 p.m. update here on Hurricane Matthew. Hurricane Matthew still moving towards the north right now. Really, the focus now is anywhere from about, I'd say, Savannah, Georgia, up through Hilton Head, South Carolina. I'm really focusing in on that area as probably what will be the worst effects, at least from wind, that we've seen with the way it paralleled the coast in Florida. Really, the big story there was storm surge. It'll still be a big story there up in South Carolina with that storm surge, but the wind will look a lot worse because the center of that storm, where those strongest winds will actually make a much closer approach to the shore, at least what I'm thinking and seeing here. And you can see here from this map from sailflow.com, it's a great resource. I suggest you check it out. You can see all the way up here, right in the southern part of South Carolina, already winds over 50 miles an hour. And the same story up and down the coast here. You can see 56 off the coast. There's gusts of 50 again on the buoy offshore. But you can see that the winds are starting to pick up. This will only get worse. Those winds will go quite a ways up, possibly even double in some areas. I'm sure we're going to see some gusts to near 100 miles an hour in parts of South Carolina, especially towards the coast, once we get towards the daybreak hours of Saturday. Looking here at the radar picture here off the southeast coast, you can see the storm right now still making that move towards the north, and it really is starting to run out of time before it can start moving east. That will miss the coast. So the further it goes north, the less time it has to make that turn, and it may end up making that turn too late. So that's why we're thinking there is a heightened risk of landfall in that area I just told you here. Again, we'll just look at another radar here. One thing to notice, you can see down in the southern part of South Carolina and around Savannah already here, and this is just today only, up to 3 inches of rain. That's going to easily double. So on top of the storm surge, if you're not in the storm surge flooding prone area, you're probably going to get some kind of flooding otherwise, especially when you're closer to the coast. You can see basically out here in the further inland areas, there's not really much rain. This is really going to be a coastal event. So the closer you're to the coast, the worse it's going to be for sure. Looking at this next image, we're just going to take a look real quickly here at these warnings. Warnings basically from the northern part of the Florida Atlantic coast all the way up into the southeastern part of North Carolina. The Outer Banks are under a tropical storm warning. It's going to be a really, really, really bad night, especially for South Carolina. I cannot stress that enough here. Let's look at the infrared picture here. You can see the storm moving to the north, and it's getting very, very close to this coastline. The turn is going to probably happen here overnight sometime, but it's really a matter of when that starts to happen and how far it goes to the east. It's going to have to jog quite a bit to the east to miss the coast, and I do think that's why I've been in this video here trying to stress to you that the wind effects may look a lot worse in parts of Georgia and South Carolina than they were in Florida, just because the way Matthew paralleled the coast while it was near Florida. Really, the storm surge was the big story here. Wind and storm surge are going to be the story there in the South Carolina. Looking at the rainbow infrared satellite, this just shows you those cold upper level clouds, and when you get those really bright colors around the center, that's a sign that it's a strong storm. And here we're looking for some kind of maintenance of strength, and we really would like to see it weaken. I'm just not seeing anything that's going to really give me a lot of evidence that we're going to see any kind of appreciable weakening, and that's going to certainly be a problem there. This next image, we've been showing you this. This is a map of the winds at the upper levels at what is called the 500 millibar level. Usually we can get an idea of steering currents from this, and I've been telling you to watch that nose of that ridge here that over the past couple frames, and you can see now it's oriented much more north-south than it was. And that is what's steering the storm to the north now. What we're going to want to see here is this become more oriented northeast to southwest, and that will start to veer Matthew to the right. We're not seeing it yet, so that's why I'm not thinking the northeastward component that we need to keep it off the shores of South Carolina is going to happen anytime soon here. One thing that we do have working for us is the shear, and the shear here really to the north of this storm is really cranking. These westerlies are just cranking across at 40, 50, 60 knots. That's way too high for a storm, and it is embedded here in those stronger areas of shear. So really no strengthening, I don't think, but the storm seems to be putting up quite a good fight for being in such heavy shear. Let's look real quickly before we end the video here, look at the forecast tracks. You can see right now the models seem to favor a track offshore of South Carolina over the next 24 to 48 hours. But with what I've been seeing, I think these models may be a bit too far east over the last couple of hours. I would say last day or so, Matthew has tended to trend on the western side of this guidance, and you can see some of this guidance actually does bring it in briefly to the South Carolina coast. So really, if you're in South Carolina now, you need to be prepared. Worst of it coming towards daybreak Saturday. It's all day Saturday is going to be a washout in North Carolina. You'll be seeing some effects, especially as we go after sunrise and throughout the day Saturday. I mean, you can see here, this is 48 hours from 18Z, which is 1 p.m. So you're looking, through at least Sunday afternoon, the Carolinas are going to be dealing with some kind of storm here. But really, just keep your eyes on the storm. If you have power or have relatives down there, let them know to stay where they are. If they have not evacuated, it's too late at this point. It's just really starting to rip in some areas here around South Carolina and Georgia. So it's a bad situation, but stay put and just keep up to date with the Weather Channel, National Weather Service, even here with our videos. If you'd like to ask us any questions, www.facebook.com/EchoTopChasers. We also have a web page on our own website, www.echotopchasers.com/Matthew, that you can check. Keep up to date on the latest. Again, we're looking for tomorrow morning is probably going to be the worst in South Carolina, and that seems to be ground zero at this point. We'll have another video for you tomorrow, and as conditions warrant, we should be seeing the storm start to move away, at least, hopefully, Saturday and Sunday, but we'll keep you up to date as much as we can possibly do here for sure. Again, till next time, I'm Ed Oswald, and I'll see you again soon.